All right, listeners, time for our special interview of the day. Fiji, which is a small island country in the South Pacific, it's known as a very popular tourist destination, of course, with its beautiful beaches. But the island country is not quite known as a source of vocal talent. Well, it's not until our special guest has come about. Our special guest today became actually the first well-known, maybe, established vocalist from the South Pacific. And he's currently working to help international students who has come here to Korea to study, just like him. And recently, I'm sure a lot of our listeners are fans of the JTBC vocal audition program called *팬텀싱어. Well, he recently appeared on the program *팬텀싱어 3 and made quite an impression, as well as provided a lot of healing to audiences and judges through his beautiful rendition. So let's meet our special guest. He is Mr. Soko Loga. He is from Kosin University's International Cooperation Team. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming to our studio.
It's great to be here.
Thank you so much. So let's have you first directly say hello to our listeners, please.
네, 안녕하세요. 몰라비나카 and hello to everybody. 저 이름은 소코이라고요.
네.
반갑습니다. 네, 안녕하십니다.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I guess we'll start off. How did you decide to come to Korea? How did you end up here in Korea?
That's like, I don't know how to explain it, but actually I was, when I was in Fiji, the only thing that I loved to do was singing. And also, like, I tried to find somehow to study music in Fiji, but because the education system in Fiji, especially with music, it was not good enough. I felt the need to study abroad. So when I was in high school, I would just sing in concerts and festivals and everything. And I'm always interested in just music. I would rather go for music class rather than go for maths class. It was so bad. That's how passionate I was. So I was able to meet a Korean vocalist, a Korean lady. She happens to be a missionary as well.
Wow.
So through her, she was able to introduce Korea and Busan and the university that I attended, which was Kosin University. And yeah, we had a conversation and talks of how I was able to come. And then she was the one that introduced me to Korea. That's how I was able to come to Korea.
I see. And here you are.
Yes.
You mentioned at a very early age you had such an interest and passion in singing. When did you, was there a certain moment that you decided, you know what, I'm going to become a singer or a professional vocalist? Was there any moment, or you want to share with that?
The thing is, in Fiji, singing is our life. We sing everywhere. Even there's a funeral, they sing. It's a birthday, we sing. So basically we sing. But the thought of having this as a career, people, I think there was a lot of fear in them, feeling that Fiji is a very small country. So for us to become singer, it's like no, it's a no thing. You only sing. It's like you can do that as a hobby.
Yeah.
But when I started singing at the young age, I felt like, why can't I do this as a career? And people would say they would laugh about it. They say, no, we don't sing make it as a career. But then from at a young age, I started to build the passion of wanting to be a singer. So at some point in my life, I felt like this is my road. I really need to pursue this. And yeah, I started singing at the age of 5, 6. That's where it all started. But the thought of, or the time that I actually made my mind to become a singer was, I think, all throughout my life as years go by.
Yeah, I see. And it's really similar to, Fiji compared to Korea is a very small place. But even just with our culture, especially when it comes to parents here in Korea, if their son or daughter they tell them, I want to become artist when I grow up. Even with all just academies and coaching and everything that's provided here in Korea, they're still very much against it. So I can only imagine your small country, how I guess adults or other people can maybe even look down a little bit on that decision. But, that's a decision you made, here you are.
That's right.
So as I mentioned to our listeners, you are from Kosin University, but also recently you have made quite an impression to TV viewers through your showing on the JTBC vocal audition program, *팬텀싱어 3. So I'm sure a lot of our listeners are very curious.
Yes.
How did you get to even audition for the program?
Actually, it was really a funny journey for me because I had, prior to the auditions, actually I had seen the... the poster on Instagram. I just told myself, I want to do this. I felt like this was the right time. Season 1 and Season 2, I felt like, I needed to study more. I needed to see the program, how it was. But then this time around, I felt like this was the right time for me. Not because I was going to win it or anything. I just felt like, when something's right, it feels right.
Yeah.
So, and then, because I work at the university, applying for this audition, I'll have to spend a lot of time out from work.
Because it's based in Seoul,
Yes, in
right?
Seoul. So I'd have to go back and forth from Seoul and Busan and all like that. So the fear of, approaching the school with this program and saying, it's like a personal thing, it's, so I was like, okay, let me just think about it. But then all of a sudden, the writers up in Seoul, they were able to contact me. They called the school and said, we're interested if you could be a part of our program. That gave me the green light.
Nice. Well, it's always like, I want to do this, but my parents might say no. So if I get my friend to say,
something, I just needed that green flag.
Right.
Something just to start off.
And, that could have been probably one of the best decisions that you could have made here in Korea. So you went on the program, you wowed everybody, judges, people in the audience. How did it feel just being on the stage like that and getting such praise from judges and audiences?
The thing was, I never expected the praise because when they told me you'd have to sing, because we actually submitted a list of songs that, they would select for us to sing. And then when they selected for me to sing a Korean song, I was like, no, this is impossible.
Yeah, could you tell our listeners exactly what song you sang?
Yeah, I sang a Korean folk song. It's called 첫사랑. It means like first love.
Yeah.
It's a well-known song for the classical vocalists. They all know this song. So for me, the challenge was, how was I going to interpret the song? How was I going to deliver the song? People they expect too much. So I'm like, okay, it's either I'm going to die or I'm going to do well. Yeah, I was really nervous about it. And when it turned out, like the judges, when I saw Okjuhyun 선생님, when she cried, my heart stopped. I think for a few seconds. I felt like I wasn't even thinking of like they have to cry, or there was never a thought in my mind. I just felt like that was a moment in my life where I had to give 101% of everything that I had. So that's what I did.
And of course, with the responses of the judges, some with, you mentioned tears in their eyes. That was a response that you mentioned you weren't expecting, but I'm sure that meant the whole world to you. Just have your talent and have your music affect people in such a warm way like that. So you mentioned Kim Hyo-geun's 첫사랑 was a song that you sang. Was there any difficulties, maybe even practicing or performing on stage to sing or express, because there is a lot of emotion in a song like that, but in a different language? Was that difficult for you?
The thing is, like, anybody can sing any song. Like, if you have a good voice, you can sing it. But the thing is, like, the way I wanted to interpret the song, I felt, because the first time I heard this song, my friends are like, oh, it's a nice song, but I felt it in a very different way. I felt like I needed to sing this song. That's how I felt it the first time. One of the very famous sopranos in Korea, when she sang it, I felt like love is really beautiful. And the emotions, and it's just all about that moment, that special moment. So trying to deliver this song to the Koreans, while I am not a Korean, how do I, penetrate this voice and this sound and the emotions through the screen over to somebody's living room was the greatest homework that I ever had. So while I was practicing, I felt like I needed to know the words and how Koreans accent, when they speak the Korean language, how they interpret, when they say something. Like, you can't just say like 안녕하세요, but with like in a very low tone, but it is feel like 밥 먹었어요 if they say that. But if you're like 밥 먹었어요, the feeling is totally different.
For sure.
So when I studied the song, I felt like every word, every sentence,
every intonation, enunciation,
has
everything.
to be perfect. But then when I went up on stage, I'd be like, okay, nothing's perfect, so let's just do it. Forget about everything. You've done your homework. Just go up on stage and do it.
Right.
And, the result was, I didn't expect it.
Obviously, it was very magical for you on stage, and it was for the audiences and judges. I think just your performance through the 10 episodes during the 팬텀싱어 3 program, you were probably one of the perfect examples of just how music is so universal. Because as you mentioned, you're not from Korea, but you singing a Korean song and just having maybe, your twist to the song be expressed to audiences, but then being able to receive it in such a warm way like that. Once again, it just goes to show you, just, music knows no barriers.
That's right.
Language, country, whatnot. Well, moving on. I'm sure some of our listeners want to know, behind the camera or behind the stage, any episodes or memorable moments for you. So along with the other contestants, how was your time just on the program, off stage?
It was a magical moment because some of the contestants, I see them on TV. Mm-hmm. So to see them in person and actually to sing with them on stage.
Yeah.
It was a gift to me. Mm-hmm. I mentioned this to Kil Byung-min. I mentioned that to him. I said, I've only seen you on TV. Uh-huh. And to actually sing with you in the same team was an honor. Mm-hmm. And, behind the scenes, it's more than what appears on the screen.
Yeah.
So we're together like a whole week. Uh-huh. Yeah, sometimes we even sleep like we are always together the whole time.
Wow.
So we're practicing, we're eating together. The thing is, like, within a short period of time, we have to bond as a team. Mm-hmm. So, like, for me, it was the greatest gift ever, the best thing that I could ever experience.
Was there any, difficulties? I'm sure there were very difficult times.
Actually, traveling back and forth from Busan and Seoul, mm-hmm. and during this corona.
Yes.
I was terrified. Mm-hmm. I'm
sure
scared.
A lot of people did that, yeah.
And then whenever I would get off, like, traveling back and forth, and then the second I arrive in Seoul, mm-hmm. I have to go to rehearsals. Mm-hmm. And we would start rehearsals night and end up, like, it'll be for hours. Mm-hmm. Even though it was so difficult, but I was so happy. Mm-hmm. This is what I love to do.
Yeah.
So even though my body was really tired and all that, but it was a great joy to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm sure it was.
Yes.
Were there any, teachers or role models during your, childhood, maybe even now, that you look up to, especially when you need any advice or any guidance in your path as a musician? Mm-hmm. So who would you consider like as your role model or teacher?
It's so funny in Fiji. That was the problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
I wished I had a role model that would have paved the way for me. Mm-hmm. Like, somebody from Fiji that could have done, paved the way for people who wanted to sing, but not only sing, but study music as well. Mm-hmm. So for me, there was nobody at that time, but I felt like that was my job. To pave the way, mm-hmm. to be a role model in Fiji. But when I came to Korea, my role model and the person that I really look up to is my professor, who is now currently the president at Kosin University.
Wow.
Professor An Min. Mm-hmm. He was not only just a professor, he was like a dad, a father, a friend, and more than just a teacher. The thing that really touched me the most was when I was doing my master's, I was supposed to have voice lesson with him. Uh-huh. And then I was sick that day. Mm-hmm. And then when I was in bed, he called and he said, "Oh, are you all right?" I said, I don't think I'll be able to sing today. And then after 2 hours later, he calls and he says, like, somebody's coming to your house, is bringing in like a soup.
Wow.
For you to eat and for you to, really get better. Mm-hmm. Because of that love that I got, I felt like, nobody would ever do this. Not even it's unseen. You don't get this kind of, he's a professor. Mm-hmm. I'm a student. He has so many students, but for him to show the love and to show the care for me, that was, I was just blessed. Mm-hmm. And, so from until now, he's my greatest mentor.
Yeah, and that's very encouraging. Professors, just people like that in universities, in departments like the one you're in, show so much, care and consideration for their students to be able to not only take care of you in class, but also outside to make sure that you're okay. Right. Now, Kosin University is known as, of course, a Christian university here in Korea. Mm-hmm. So do you often take your talents to weekly services?
Before *Phantom*, there are so many places where like recitals and concerts and other festivals, or there's some occasions where I go and perform. But now after the *Phantom*, I feel like there's like so many programs that have called in and have asked to perform.
That's what fame does to you, man.
I felt like, okay, let's take a deep breath. Uh-huh. And, I feel like every performance should be performed well. Mm-hmm. And I should really take my time in trying to every performance well.
Yeah, of course.
Think, people, because they're so happy about getting so many schedules, they'd be like, okay, let me just go and sing, just sing however. Mm-hmm. But I felt the need to take my time.
Yeah, of course.
And in church, that's one of my main places where I sing weekly in church. And other schedules as well, other events.
Yeah, it sounds like you're very dedicated to your craft. And Kosin University is, I'm sure, they're very happy to just have a talented individual like yourself be at their school. You want to be a role model, maybe to future generations of singers from Fiji. Do you ever think about taking your talent back to your home country?
That's my main goal right now.
Okay.
To actually learn a lot here in Korea. In so many areas, and then go back to Fiji. And even now, that's my main aim when I entered the 팬텀싱어. That was actually my main aim, was to actually inspire these young people in Fiji. It's a very small country, and I feel like there's so much talent. And then, somebody has to pave the way. Somebody has to show them, because the thing is, like, it's so different to see somebody, a foreigner, on TV, and to see the same person, like the people from your country, appear on TV. For young people, Fijians, to see me on a big platform like this, they are inspired. They feel like, we are from the same place. He's from Fiji, I'm from Fiji. He's got a talent, I got a talent. So if he can make it, I can make it.
Yeah.
So within that context, I feel like it's my role to pave the way and to inspire them. So going back to Fiji and really pushing those talented people. I feel like, there's a lot of talent in Fiji that the world needs to see. That's my main goal right now.
I want to talk a bit about your work at Kosin University. As I mentioned, you are from the International Cooperation team,
Yes, that's right?
So tell us a bit about just your work overall.
The thing is, like, I've experienced being an international student here in Korea. So I know exactly how it feels like to be a student. I know how...
When exactly did you arrive?
It's been like 10 years now. So I came into Korea September 2010. So it's been 10 years now. And when I came in, I started the Korean language program. I did my bachelor's and I did my master's as well. So my duty is, students, international students, when they come into the university, they feel like they want somebody that they can relate to, somebody that they can talk to, and somebody they feel like, he's done it, I've done it myself. I can do it myself. So I'm always there. I'm like the oppa or the hyung in the office. Even though they're not allowed to say that in the office because it's official. Yeah. But like, I'm always there for them, like, if they need to talk about personal stuff where they feel like, I'm facing a lot of problems here. And I'm always there for them. Yeah. So whenever we meet up and they're like, how did you do that? I was like, I don't know. I was just so passionate about studying. I felt like, this was it. And then I gave my all. So that is my role here.
Could you maybe share with our listeners some of those difficulties that you experienced from the beginning? What was hard about life here in Korea? Maybe just the first couple of months, after you arrived?
Honestly, I was so passionate about studying. The second the plane landed in Gimhae, I said to myself, you are not going back home until you graduate. And if you don't graduate, you'd rather die here or you run away to another country.
Wow.
That's how, I was so determined to study in Korea and to succeed. But the thing is, like, the hardest thing that I ever faced when I was in Korea was the weather. Because in Fiji, it's summer from January to December. In Korea, there's 4 seasons, right?
Yeah.
So every time that the weather changes, I'm always sick. That's the problem.
Because your body is not used to
it's not used to the weather. And the problem is, like, every time when it's winter, I have to sing in school, like, for my exams, my vocal exams. So that's, like, one of my great... Because I'd be, like... People are, like, wearing warm stuffs. I'm wearing, like, double more. And the scarves,
you're not used to, yes. Cold.
And the thing is, like, when I'm going into the examination room, people are like, I think you'll be sweating by the end of the exam. I feel like, no, it's all right. I'd rather sweat it out rather than getting catching a cold.
Right.
So the weather was my greatest trials that I've ever faced.
Right. I know what you mean. Me and my family spent some time in Saipan, right, for a couple of years. And it's the same there. It's summer all year long. Yes. When we moved to California, I mean, it's some of the nicest weather in the U.S., but it got, getting used to it, with, spring, summer, right?
Yes, that's
fall
right.
and winter. Could you maybe share with our listeners any future plans? Do you have any other big programs that maybe you could share with our listeners? We don't want to give away any spoilers or anything.
Yes.
But we want to know what you're going to do from here on out.
The thing is, like, we have a few programs that's lined up, and we're still trying to shuffle up our schedule because then I had to juggle up work and performing. And yeah, I have a few festivals and a few concerts.
Nice.
So it's still up in line. So, and I hope to perform in other places as well.
Nice.
But from there onwards, I feel while I'm doing all of this, I feel like I need to study some more.
Yeah.
As a singer, you never stop studying.
Right.
The day you stop studying is the day when you die.
Yeah.
So, but then other than that, as I continue my journey, I feel like I need to continue to inspire and continue to encourage not only the gang in Fiji, the gang in the South Pacific, and even the Koreans as well.
Nice. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
Once
you.
again, we could really feel your dedication to your craft. Any last words or any shout outs you want to give?
Yes, I'd like to personally thank Koshin University for just giving me a platform and just allowing me to be a part of 팬텀싱어, because I know, if it was some other place, I think they wouldn't have allowed it. Giving time and just supporting me all the way, especially to the president, the vice president, to the staff, to the students. I'm so blessed because every time I'm going up to Seoul, people text me. They're like, "Are you going back to Seoul? Why can't we see you?" Like, I'm like, and they're always texting me, but like, be strong and, you'll do well. All those messages just matter. It's been touching for me throughout this season. And all my friends, to the music department at Koshin University, the professors have been very supportive because they've been like, so during your practice, just record your voice and send it to us. And we'll be like, okay, your note is a little bit off sometimes. So yeah, I'd like to really thank the professors, the pianists, and so many people. And lastly, I'd like to thank the Koreans and the viewers for, just allowing me, a foreigner, to be a part of such program. And, you cannot always impress everybody.
Right.
That's the whole part of it. But to the people that have been very encouraging, like, it really touched me a lot. Like, to allowing me, a foreigner, to be a part of such a big program and to be encouraging in a way. They give out comments like, the one that I could really remember until today is somebody had texted and said they felt like, thank you for sharing not your voice but your heart with us. I felt like, wow, you knew exactly what I was trying to do. So thank you. I would like to thank everybody for just even liking or just even supporting or even just within your heart supporting me. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, it sounds like you just have the support of the whole of Koshin University, along with just many, many fans, of your music and your talent. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Actually, a big treat for our listeners out there. He's actually going to do a live rendition of a song for us. So without further ado, we have our audiences here in the studio with us, of course, to give support. So without further ado, here is a live rendition. Could you introduce a song that you're going to sing?
Yes, this is my favorite song, 첫사랑. It's First Love by Kim Hyuk-eun 선생님, and I hope people will continue to please support this composer. His music is really good. I love his piece. Not only this one, but there's so many other songs, but 첫사랑. And I hope that everybody will love this song and continue to support this song. And I hope I'll do my best. Thank you.
I'm sure you will. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, with the live rendition of Kim Hyuk-eun's 첫사랑.
그대를 처음 본 순간이요 설레는 내 마음의 빛을 담았네 말 못해타는 시간이요 나 홀로 그 눈길 마주친 순간이요 내 마음 말일새란 눈빛 돌리네 그대와 함께한 시간이요 나 홀로 벅차다 간절히 기도해 온 세상이여 날 위해 노래해 언제나 그대에게 내 마음 전할까 오늘도 그때만 생각하며 살다